Hi guys, my name is Macc Rosay, and my real name is Kamukhelo actually, by the way, but I go by the name Macc Rosay. That's just a name that was created by myself and a friend of mine, but it essentially defines me as a creative and who I am today. So yeah, I just wanted to share my journey and my story. And if you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Those are some of the things that I still face even till today, and I still try to unpack, and I still thrive in whatever that I can. And I'm also learning to vocalize more. Like if I really need help with something, instead of keeping it in, I really try to speak out a little bit more, because I also am realizing that sometimes people can't sense what I need help with. So sometimes I really need to be vocal about it. And I feel like that's another thing that is important for me as someone who has albinism. And I feel like I need to be I'd say an activist in the sense, because yeah, I feel like I need to be an activist in the sense of speaking out about things that I need help with, or things that I need clarity on. Like if I'm not, for example, if I'm struggling to read a menu at a restaurant and I need to call the waiter and ask them to actually read through the menu for me, it's something that is very uncomfortable and very weird. Sometimes if I'm going with friends, I would ask whoever that's next to me that will help me. But before that, I actually either would just keep quiet or just see whatever that looks appealing on the menu. If there's a picture, I'll just be like, I want that. Whatever that I could see easier and that was quick, I would just quickly pick it, because I felt like I had no choice and I could not ask for help. And in the long run, it also affects me, because the people around me don't know that this is how I feel or this is what I'm struggling with, which doesn't help me either way. So I think being very vocal about our challenges, or personally my challenges, it's very important. Like, okay, I'm walking down the road. Where are you? I can't really see you. What are you wearing? Like stuff like that. I struggle with that. Or noticing people, be like, yo, I saw you on the street and I greeted you. You didn't see me. And I'm like, to be quite honest, I didn't see you. And at first, I used to feel bad for that. But it's like, to be quite honest, sometimes I don't even see that somebody walked past, or I might have seen a person, but I can't identify who it is, depending on how close or how far they were, or whatever outfit they were wearing, if it was bright enough for me to notice. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I actually saw you wearing a red shirt, but I was not sure that it was you, you know. So I think going into detail and trying to also explain to people sometimes, like, dude, when I say I don't see you, it doesn't mean that I can't see you, or I didn't pay attention to you, or I was ignoring you. No, it actually means that I didn't see you properly. You were way too far for my eyesight reach for me to notice you, even if I was wearing glasses. So those are some of the things that I feel like people don't understand, and you constantly need to explain it to people. It is quite exhausting sometimes, but I feel like if you have people that are really willing to try and understand your condition, or they're trying to understand, it's a lot easier to relate to them and explain to you that, okay, dude, I could be sitting in the class in front, but I could still see this part of the chalkboard, like the left part, and then maybe the center is an issue, or the far right would be an issue for me to see, because the desk is not necessarily in the middle and it's more far left. So I'm going to have to write whatever I see on the far left and sit this side, and then when I move to the middle, I need to move so I can see. And I also want to highlight the importance of infrastructure. And in our day-to-day lives, there's some things that limit us because we have visual impairment, and we struggle to we have an issue with, one of the things that we have an issue with is actually not being able to see things that are really far. And it also depends on how big something is or how bright it is. So just because you see that there's a, I don't know, there's a lamp over there and it's black, I might not be able to see it because it's black and it's very far and it might be tiny. But I might be able to see a lamp that is over there that is maybe like yellow or red, some things like that. And to go back and touch on the school thing, like me having to move and go write, like literally I write by section. I literally have to write from this side of the classroom, then move to the board and then write on the other side, and then move to the other side so I can actually complete writing my notes. And to note that actually takes time. Classmates are impatient, kids are impatient with you, and they're like, you're taking time when you're moving, wartira, like things like that. Like people will make you feel very small, and then you go into yourself, and then you start to not even want to be the person in class who's always taking forever to write, who's moving around in class. Then you keep quiet, you don't write your notes, or if you can get somebody else to write your notes for you, you do stuff like that. So those are some of the challenges that like I faced growing up, and I've always had to improvise in my life. I've always had to improvise, and it really takes a lot away from you, because you somewhat suppress parts of yourself, because that is you. That is me, like struggling to write and not seeing things properly. That is me, like it's my vision, like that's how I see. And not to mention, like forgetting to mention the fact that lighting also plays a really huge part with my vision. If things are not well lit from one angle to the other, it's going to affect this eye and that eye. Like I need some sort of, I wouldn't say balance, but I need, if I'm focused on this area, I need a certain type of lighting. If I'm focused in this area, I need a certain type of lighting. Like even when I do my makeup, I sit directly in front of the window, but the way I see this side and this side, it's not the same. And you might find that the room, the way it's lit up, it's not evenly distributed, and you might find that I might struggle a little bit more to draw my eyebrow this side and this side. Small things like that really play an important role. And sometimes when something is too bright, it makes it very difficult for me to see, because I constantly want to cover my eyes. I can't deal with really harsh light, and that also like contributes to a lot of things. That's why I mentioned in terms of like writing at school, doing my makeup, and just sometimes getting around. If someone is in the shadow too much and they're wearing really dark clothes, sometimes it's really hard to make out who that person is because of such things. And like I also highlighted the infrastructure thing, like spotting stuff, or someone saying, no, I'm by this tree, and you're like, which one? I can't see you. You might find that they've blended into the tree and they're standing under the shade, and you're maybe like a meter away, but you can't see because of such things. And then small things like seeing bright colors and maybe seeing like larger objects make things easier for us. So to also touch on like school, some of the things that I saw, the gaps rather in the school environment, is that these things are not highlighted, in the sense that I had to discover only in high school that I had to apply for getting enlarged papers and getting extra time when I write exams, which is true, because like I went back to the story of writing my notes. It took me longer than everyone in class because I always had to improvise. I had to move. I had to make sure that I can see everything, and people's handwritings are different, so it makes it even difficult for me to get my notes done at the same pace as everyone. So same goes for like writing tests and writing exams. There's some things that I'm going to omit and not see properly. So you have to actually apply for that at school, and then they make sure there's a provision for you to get your papers sorted, and you don't have to necessarily go to the office and ask for enlarged papers the whole time and do all of those things. So those are some of the things I really feel like, especially mainstream schools, like if they should accommodate, they should be there. It shouldn't be something that is unheard of, because I had to actually find out somewhere else. I didn't even know, as a person with albinism, I actually didn't know. I had to be told by somebody else, and I feel like it's also the school's responsibility. If they're having different people coming to the school, they need to at least try and make everyone feel to a certain extent accommodated for, not always having to feel like you have to improvise. Yeah, like I can touch so much on improvisation. Like I've had to improvise in school, and when I go out with people, when I do my makeup, when I do my hair, like going to buy hair extensions is such a nightmare, because you get there and then they give you a brown looking hairpiece and they say, oh, this is the blonde hair, and you can kind of tell how, like, you can kind of see also like how people are kind of ignorant, and they're like, no, it looks nice, and they're trying to convince you that it looks good, like it's okay, like this color is gonna work for you, and you're just like, but it doesn't look like my hair. But yeah, no, but it's blonde, and they're like, that's the only color we have, and it's like, yeah, but this is not what I'm looking for, and like for me personally, I think because I'm a creative, I would rather take that energy and I would make something out of it. So that's when it comes to my hair, I started experimenting with like different colors, especially after high school, because school, they would require you to wear your hair in a certain way and you couldn't wear bright colors. So I think that's when, after high school, I kind of started finding myself and identifying with the things that were really me, in a sense that I could express myself fully instead of like suppressing some parts of me because of I'd say the limitations that were put in place, that were obviously not in my control, but they just happened to be there. Like the fact that I couldn't wear blue hair to school. Nobody could do that. So I was forced to either wear the blonde that they would recommend or have my hair natural. So after high school, that's when I started experimenting with like bright colors. Like I went from purple to yellow to blue, and people were like, I remember when I was trying to do my hair the first time, my family was like, isn't that too bright? I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway, and it started becoming my thing. And then I started experimenting with yarn braids, and it became my thing. And then there is this white yarn that I found. It's like white cream that really looks good on my hair, and I kind of stuck with it, and it sort of like became my look. Like now I'm really known for like bright hair colors, and really funky, different looking hair. So that's how I started to, like, I'd say, find myself in the midst of all the limitations, or all of the things that were put against me in a way that I never really asked for, but I kind of settled for. So I would say allowing myself to express myself in any way without any boundaries or holding back has made me the person that I am today. And I think also, going back to my family structure, they've allowed me to embrace that side of me, even if it was like kind of weird for them to, like, oh, okay, you're experimenting with this, isn't it too bright, isn't that? But they've sort of like as I started to wear it more confidently, then they also like started to understand and ease into it. So I've sort of become a person that I will hop onto things, and then people would be like, are you sure about this? And I'll be like, yes. And then only later they start coming to the party, which is, previously when I was in high school, I used to be the person that would suppress a lot of like my energy. I didn't want to be seen. I would just like really be I don't know how to explain it. I would just be very enclosed, and I wouldn't express myself to the fullest, versus now where I really express myself and I go crazy. And I am at a point where sometimes I actually am not even bothered what people think of, because I really feel happy and comfortable and very confident in whatever I'm wearing or whatever color I decided to wear on my hair. So that's how I started finding myself and the things that I love, because I am a creative at heart. So I always find creative ways to make things work in my favor, you know. And one of the things that I've also started doing is like I stopped drawing my eyebrows brown because there is no pencil. I've looked around, I've experimented with mascaras as well. The only mascaras that I find that I started dabbling into were colors. Like I started dabbling into pink. No, I got a blue, purple mascaras. I did settle for brown, but I just feel like it's too dark, and I don't want to feel pressured to dye my hair a darker color or use a darker color extension or color any part of my hair in a darker sense, because that it's just not, it doesn't look like me. And yeah, like that's how I've literally been living my life and trying not to be that person that I was in high school or a few years before then. So I try so hard to make it a point that whatever that I do, whatever that I wear, when I walk into a room, whatever makeup that I wear, it's me. It's gonna throw people off because it's different, but that is me. I've always had to kind of like fit in. I've always had to try and suppress who I was internally by just being this, I'd say, a dull version of myself. And now like I express myself fully with color and whatever that I like. And when I look at myself, I see myself as a colorful person. So that's how I implement some of those things in terms of like my makeup, what I wear, whatever that I like. I just try to be very bold and very in your face about it, to make it like very known that I am here and this is what you get, you know, and it's okay. And if people don't like it, well, there's nothing I can do about it.